It is now 11 o'clock. You are tuned into 91.9 FM WMEB Orono, Maine. You are entering the Mystery Hour.
Hello. You are now entering a strange realm beyond reason. Here the laws of space and time are of little consequence. There are no calendars and the clocks only read Mystery Hour. I'm Roy Michaels, and tonight I'm joined by Joseph, paranormal journalist, Keith, herbalist, Connor, monster expert. These fine gentlemen are no strangers to the occult, and are here not for the promise of monetary gain, but for the pursuit of the truth, and because I do not pay them. Tonight, we are exploring all things strange, evil, and mysterious that lurk just beyond the edge of town, within the forest. Every summer, my family and I go up to camp in Dedham, Maine. It's close to Ellsworth. It's about a 3-hour drive from my house. The camp itself is about an hour from the nearest town. I've been going to this camp my entire life, and I've never had an incident like this happen before. I was watching TV in the middle of the night. Both of my brothers and parents had gone to bed. I heard a noise coming from the kitchen and realized that the dogs needed to go outside to do their business. So I took my brother's 2 pit bulls and my little beagle outside after turning on the porch light. I walked around to the front yard and I lit the dogs off the leash. It's so incredibly dark in the woods in Maine that the porch light really only illuminated the porch and nothing else, so I tried to keep an eye on them. I was momentarily distracted when I saw a loon on the lake. When I looked back, I saw that the pit bulls were both looking at something within the woods. I couldn't see what it was, but I assumed they'd seen a squirrel or a raccoon. It was then that I realized I didn't see Alfie anywhere. She's an awfully small dog, and she's completely black. I called for her a few times and heard some soft whimpering right where the dogs had been looking earlier. I took a couple steps in that direction and called for her again, worried that she might have gotten her paw stuck between the rocks or gotten stuck in a snake hole. Suddenly, I felt something moving behind me. I whipped around and looked down, and it was Elfie. She'd been staying close to me the whole time. I just hadn't seen her. So naturally, I was thinking, if Elfie is here, what is in the woods? I took another step forward, and the pit bulls began to growl. They were slowly advancing and were now on either side of me. Looking right into the blackness of the woods, I quickly picked up Alfie and began to back up, very slowly. I'm not sure what I thought was there, but there are lots of animals in Maine, and I figured the dogs knew better than I did, since I couldn't see anything. Right as I turned around, I heard the most absolutely bone-chilling thing I've ever heard in my life. coming from the direction of the woods. I heard something, call Alfie's name. It sounded almost as if it were trying to mimic me, but it was just all wrong. The voice sounded really distorted, and almost seemed to wail. I freaked out and ran inside with the dogs. I have no idea what was out there in the woods. My camp is essentially a log cabin overlooking a lake, and our nearest neighbor lives at least a half mile in the opposite direction of where the thing was. My campfire tale was brought to us by Madame Fizzgig from our Skinwalkers. So, based on your experience of woodland creatures, what do you guys think it was? Are you thinking a Wendigo?
Perhaps, yeah.
Yeah?
I'm thinking a Wendigo, yeah.
This is totally a Wendigo story, right?
Mhm.
I mean, the Mimicry. Yeah, Joseph?
It could be Eustace Roach.
A what?
Eustace Roach is actually a person. That's his name. His first name is Eustace. His last name is Roach. And what he does is he kidnaps dogs, and he splices them with the body of a giant spider. So it's a giant spider with a dog's head.
Really?
Yeah.
Where is this? Is he still alive?
It's not known, but you did say it was near Ellsworth, right?
It was near Ellsworth.
Wonderful place. And obviously, Eustace Roach wants to be near Ellsworth.
Well, who wouldn't want to be near Ellsworth? Are you kidding me? So he takes dogs and splices them with spiders?
Yep, and then there are dog bodies with spider heads, but those don't usually last too long.
Dog body. Yeah. It just doesn't make sense to me.
It doesn't.
Why do you think he does that?
Oh, that's a good question.
It's hard to decipher the mind of a madman, for
If
sure.
you could do something like that, would you not do it at least once?
I could, and I don't.
Prove it.
Prove it? Meet me after the show.
All right. How many dogs should I bring?
3.
3?
Nobody's turning dogs into spider monsters.
We're not going to tell Mike.
We're turning spiders into dog monsters, actually. Roy?
Okay, well, now I have 2 questions for you as opposed to my original one. Have either of you ever had a skinwalker encounter in the wild, or have either of you had a Eustace Roach encounter in the wild?
Keith?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Keith?
Mike, I really want to answer your question with a question. How big are the spiders?
The bodies of the spiders?
Yes, spider body, dog head, what is the relative size?
The spider bodies are bigger than most dogs, most medium-sized dogs. Yeah.
Where are these
does he
spider
find those?
bodies coming from?
Yeah,
These giant
exactly.
spiders.
I don't know. No one knows.
Perhaps before we get too heavy in spider dogs, maybe we should describe a Wendigo.
A what?
A Wendigo?
Yeah, go ahead.
A Wendigo?
Oh,
Wendiago?
yeah.
It's a-
Diabolo.
No.
Oh.
Skinwalkers, Fleshgates, Goatmen,
Did you say flush gates?
Fleshgates.
Is that your username?
Well, funny you mention that actually. Fleshgates 444 is the FBI agent I talked to on the dark web that gives me all of my Benghazi secrets about the reptiles that control our government. And before I go back to Skinwalkers, I just want to say that this upcoming November, when you're casting your vote, know that everything is a lie, and the moon is a hollow spaceship where reptilian overlords have a device that inhibits our psychic powers.
Mike, I thought we talked about this.
Every day.
I thought we weren't going to do this anymore.
So Skinwalker is essentially like a ship-shaped in an evil spirit. A lot of it appears most frequently in Native American folklore, but it seems like every region has their own specific variation of the tale. It is a beast that can take the form of an animal, and even that of a human. Some people believe that a Wendigo arises when cannibalism occurs, but not really, I'd say, utilitarian cannibalism, but wasteful cannibalism. When, say, you're snowed in, but you have a shovel and can get to your car and go to the store, but instead you decide to murder and eat your family anyway. That would be a situation that would transform you into a Wendigo, this shape-shifting beast of myth who eats the flesh of humans. Keith?
So you become the Wendigo by killing your family, or you become the Wendigo by being killed by an estranged family member?
You be the Wendigo by perform an act of needless cannibalism.
Okay.
Yeah, Connor?
So really, the Wendigo is a protector of the sanctity of humanity.
Yes.
He doesn't, he doesn't want you eating other humans if you don't need to. He sounds like a good guy to me.
Yeah, well, he is a steward of the environment for sure, because if there's one thing that's absolutely horrible, it's wasting food. Joseph?
I just had a question about the Wendigo.
Yes.
How long does it take for someone to transform into a Wendigo? Like, let's say if I eat Keith right now, am I just automatically a Wendigo? Or is it like a couple weeks?
I think with this radio show, we have a very good opportunity to sort of test
Keith?
that out for the scientific community. If you would like to just dig in,
Please no.
he's got some good shoulders on him.
He does. I've been looking at his shoulders all day. What happens if you just take a chunk out of someone and don't really kill him? Like, does that count?
Yeah, is there like a Wendigo council who judges your heinous act for like if it's worth it?
I don't
Yeah, I guess you're
believe
probably
so.
not on the inside.
Yeah, it's just a
No.
group of emaciated, humanoid guys with deer heads and antlers and robes, and they make these decisions.
Absolutely. I do have a Wendigo story. One time I was out.
Go ahead and tell us.
Stop.
I want to hear it.
So I was out camping in the Maine woods, and I was with my friend Keith, and it was just us two guys out in the woods having a good time. We're not hunters, okay? We're not out there to kill things. We're just out there having fun, just doing guy stuff, hanging out by the fire. So we're out there, and eventually we start hearing branches snapping around the camp, right? So Keith goes off. I have no idea what he was doing. He was probably foraging for berries. He does that quite often.
Like a bear.
Yeah. And eventually I started to hear him calling my name. And it was dark, and I didn't have a flashlight. I just had the light on my phone, and so I was navigating through the woods, dodging like roots and overhanging branches. Just like, Mike kept luring me out. He was saying Roy, actually. And I kept going out. And then eventually a hand landed on my shoulder. I turned around and my blood went cold because it was Keith. And he was staring me in the eyes. And he just shook his head and said, "Bad spirit."
Oh my God,
Yeah.
Keith, what happened on
No,
your
it's
end?
not that, Keith.
Oh, it's not that, Keith.
No, it's a different.
Oh, well, you did make
I
that
would
clear.
never-
Oh,
I think that was
man.
the trick.
So, Connor, what did we do in the woods this week?
Oh, right. I'm glad we're getting to this. Okay. Last Wednesday, friend of the show, Sean Kilpatrick, contacted Roy Michaels and I about some paranormal activity happening in the woods around his home. Intrigued, Roy and I ventured to the far reaches of Maine to his home in Searsport, where we conducted an extensive interview to unravel the mysteries encompassing his abode. Here's the scoop.
We moved up here in the mid-90s, lived here for a few years, and then one day my father was stomping around the woods, and he found this graveyard. We had archaeologists come up and check it out, verify everything. There was no record of anyone having lived here prior to us, so we have no idea where these graves come from. There's a number of children's graves.
So you have no idea who lived here before your family and who might be buried in your backyard?
None really, but as far as we can tell, this was all field at one point, because these trees are young.
Are there dates on the tombstones?
There are. We have one from 1843, a few from earlier even, one from 1799.
1799.
1799.
Do you think it was maybe a family of farmers who used to live out here on the mountain?
Quite possibly. Homesteaders, maybe. There were some rock walls. We even found wagon wheels.
And turned to his friend on the scene, Dakota, who gave us his take. Dakota, earlier you told me about your experience in these woods. Can you tell me more about that?
Yeah, like I hunt in these woods like often, like with my friend Jake. But we come out here and we walk all these woods like all the time. But most of the time we feel like we have to look over our shoulder because it just feels like you're being watched or something's following you, or you feel like you see something like pop out of like behind a tree or like lean back from a tree. It's like really edgy.
Interesting. And you said even near the house you feel uncomfortable at night.
Yeah, like on not really moonlit nights and it's like really dark, like you don't really want to walk around without a light and alone. It's just like feels really weird.
Once we felt we had enough information to crack the case, we made our way to the epicenter of the paranormal activity, the graveyard within his woods, which even included graves of some deceased infants.
We're coming up on the gravesite here. It's just over this ridge here.
Just up that ridge over there.
Yeah, this one.
I might have just used the bathroom over that ridge.
My graves?
I'm sorry.
It's not over yet, but Mike, I want to ask you, what were you doing?
I thought I'd go ahead, scout out the territory, see if I could spot any wildlife out there. And then, we had been drinking hot cocos all night, lemonades, iced teas, and I just had to go.
You
I
gotta
didn't-
go.
I didn't have a flashlight.
Yeah, you didn't know where you were.
Pee on his grave.
It's okay. All right. So after that, we sat down the graveyard and we tried to contact the spirits with the Ouija board.
Let's hear the footage.
So now we're here sitting in Sean's graveyard, and we are going to begin our investigation, hopefully to gain insight on the family that lived here before Sean's family moved in, and perhaps more insight on the sort of strange feelings that visitors in these woods often experience. Does anyone want to communicate with us tonight?
Yes.
Who are you?
R-A-L P H.
Ralph.
That is my deceased dog.
Ooh, I'm sorry. Should we move on?
Ralph, know how to spell?
I don't believe he did. He was a dog.
Dogs can't spell. Not wanting to give up, we gave it one more try. Okay, it's spelling something out. W A A A A H.
What?
Babies can't spell.
We moved up.
That's it. We weren't very successful in cracking the case, so we did contact two paranormal entities.
That was probably the darkest joke in the darkest finding in the history of the Mystery Hour.
I mean, it happens when you're using a Ouija board.
I will like to add a sort of caveat to the story. Shortly after we recorded the interview with Dakota, I saw a green flash zoom past my field of vision, and it sent like chills down my spine. I got goosebumps. I had no idea what it was. I've never seen anything like that before. I'm pretty sure it was the reflection on your phone, but it could have also been what some might call an orb.
That's very likely. There's a lot of paranormal activity around that yard.
Yeah. Yeah, Keith?
Would you say an orb is just like a mass of energy?
Yeah, I believe so.
I don't actually know the specifics myself.
You know, this reminds me, I did have a crazy theory on the drive here.
Oh?
So as you know, I'm also a environmental science student, so I was just daydreaming, thinking about ghosts, thinking about molecules, and I came up with this new concept that I think might sort of put a spin on the academic world of paranormal research. And that is, okay, so think of molecules, right? Thinking about it? They move more rapidly when you add heat. And ghosts look like a bunch of condensed molecules. So my theory is that when it's hot out, there are maybe more fast ghosts or less ghosts because the heat has given them energy and they're like all dispersed, as opposed to like down in a dark and dank cellar that's a little bit chilly, the molecules will come together and form a apparition.
Why then do you think that it gets cold when ghosts are around?
Yes, Joseph?
I actually was going to ask that same question, but I think it could be maybe they're trying to, cool down the area so they can just go back into, I don't know, some sort of rest.
That is a good point. Keith?
I think it could be similar to perspiration. Like maybe they're actually they're cooling the area because they're consuming so much energy. So they themselves are taking all the heat and are removing it from their surrounding environment. And so you get cooled by them taking all of the energy.
It makes a lot of sense.
Could be it. Could be it.
Keith is our ghost expert here.
Yeah.
I prefer ghouls, but they're apples.
You
Who
know,
doesn't?
you struck me as a ghoul man.
You know it.
So I kind of want to go back to that part in the story when we talked to Dakota and you felt a sort of sense of like uneasiness as you walked through the woods. And in the realm of paranormal phenomena, that's sort of associated with areas where like something terrible has happened that has emitted a great deal of energy. Have any of you experienced that sensation while just being out in the world? Keith?
Could you elaborate, I guess? Do you mean, have we ever encountered a large mass of energy?
Well, have you ever just been walking along and just got super scared?
Yes.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Where
Cool.
was it?
Probably the woods, I would imagine. It's kind of relevant. I don't have a real story, but it's pretty spooky out there sometimes. The noises you hear, your imagination is definitely compensating. And anytime you hear something as little as a twig snap, you're trying to think, what stepped on that? What's out here with me?
Yeah.
Sometimes you can't. Sometimes it's dark, and you can't see anything, and all you have to go by is these sounds. And your mind just fabricates whatever it can to spook you into getting to safety.
Yeah, it's sort of like the primeval man inside of you is so worried about, saber-toothed tigers
Yeah.
and raptors.
Yeah, actually, Roy was telling me a theory about the woods being perhaps the lair of the devil.
Ooh, yeah, before we get into that, let's get into a promo. It's 11:25. I'm Roy Michaels, and you're listening to the Mystery Hour on 91.9 FM WMEB, Orono, Maine. We'll be right back.
Put French fries in your ears.
I am not putting French fries in my ears. Why would I do that?
Cuz, like this. Just put them in your ear.
Okay, all right, like this?
Mom, put them in your nose and you'll look like a walrus.
Okay, all right. I am a walrus. Oh, silly.
Kids are special. Let's treat them that way.
Okay. Mom, now you have to say I like French fries without using the first letter in a low voice.
Wait, without the first letter? All right, so you say it with me, but you say it in a high voice, okay? 1, 2, 3.
At St. Baldrick's, we want kids to be kids. Not just when playing with their food, but when they need us most. When they need help fighting cancer. That's why the advanced research we fund is specifically designed to help children.
I like French fries.
Okay, now do the opposite. 1, 2, 3.
I like French fries.
Support St. Baldrick's and childhood cancer research today by going to stbaldricks.org and get involved.
Hello and welcome back to the Mystery Hour, the first, only, and number one late night paranormal talk show right here on 91.9 FM WMEB Orono, Maine. I'm Roy Michaels. It's 11:27, and tonight we are exploring the strange, dark, horrific, and mysterious that lurks within the forest. So, before we went to break, Connor mentioned that the wilderness might not be, let's say, God's domain per se, but in fact the domain of Satan. You know, in the old New England folklore during the puritanical times, there seemed to be a narrative that the wilderness was meant to be conquered by man. It was at odds with humanity. It was evil. Out there, past the edge of civilization, and there was darkness. It is not a land of God, but a land of Satan. Recent films have explored this theory. Antichrist by Lars von Trier, great date movie, by the way. And then more recently, The Witch, where they postulate that there's evil in the wood. So my first question, kicking off this mystery half hour to you fine gentlemen, is do you believe that there's evil in the wood? Is nature, in fact, evil? Yeah, Joseph?
I believe that there's evil in the wood, but I don't think nature is necessarily evil. I think it's just, it's hard for evil to hide in a populated area, and they have to go find a place to hide and still up their place in the woods.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Like if I had to hide from the police after eating Keith to see if I could become a Wendigo, I'd probably go hide in the woods.
You would?
Yeah, I would.
You would.
Yeah.
I do think that, like, part of me wants to think of the wilderness as sort of like indifferent to man, like it's not out to get us. But I also do sort of buy into this puritanical notion that there is an inherent wickedness in the forests that just sit on the edge of our towns. And I'm going to tell you why. Melonheads. Are you familiar with melonheads?
The candy?
Well, okay, so melonheads, it's not the most politically correct term in the world. But that doesn't mean that I can't love it. Originally, when someone referred to a melonhead, you knew that they were talking about a specific set of urban legends from the 70s, originating in Michigan, Ohio, and Connecticut. That involves small humanoids with bulbous heads that hide and attack people in the forest. Now, with time, the term is sort of used to describe, well, heavenly inbred communities of in-the-woods people. Think Ron Turn, The Hills Have Eyes. On the internet, I've read plenty of encounters with these sort of melon heads out in the forest, and it's hard to tell if they're fact or fiction. But more often than not, it involves a bunch of city kids who drive out to the backwoods, cut loose, maybe bringing their girlfriends with them. I remember this one story where these kids went to an isolated lake for like a sunny day of swimming. The lake proved to be a spot for the nearby in a woods community as well. And they stood there just kind of slack-jawed, staring at the city kids for a while, and staring at the girls specifically. And I guess after a while they began to get a little bit close for comfort and a little bit touchy, and maybe they got in some, old-fashioned hair sniffing.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
What is hair sniffing?
Hair sniffing?
Yeah.
What does it sound like, Connor?
Joseph knows what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
We're two peds in the pod. Joseph and I, we both grew up in a back in a woods community, and that was our childhood. We lived amongst the melon heads and just roughing it. We had nice shacks, lived a peaceful rustic life, mostly in squalor, but it was a good time. We would go to the pond with our closest friends, Werner, Lorraine, Bud, Cletus, and Gorp, to smash frogs with stones and see who could stare at their reflection the longest in the water without getting scared. Every now and then the city boys showed up with the city girls, and wowee. Those girls were like nothing we had ever seen before, and their hair washed with the most exotic.
There's some good old hair sniffing in there.
Yeah,
Good story.
there's some hair in the pop filter.
Absolutely
The
disgusting.
most exotic of perfumes. Hair sniffing was our cable. It was all we had. We tried to get close and smell those sweet, forbidden fragrances. If you were lucky. Oh, if you were a lucky man and you got close, you could touch the hair. You could touch the hair. Boy, it was softer than the fur on a baby mink. Let me tell you what. Thinking back to it, those are simpler times. I was much happier then than I am now in society. And I'm glad I have the memories with me of the hair sniffing. Do you smell my hair, Connor?
Oh, I love
It
the smell
smells
of
great.
It smells great. I love the smell of that uncorrupted DNA. It's real good.
Well, I wouldn't go that far. But yeah, I do put thought into it. Keith.
Do you remember when Gorp dropped that rock on all those crabs, and it was something else? Like the fragrance of the city folk really just
It
like, set him off.
distracted him.
Exactly. He thought he was able to hold the rock.
He was just Gorp loved to pick up rocks. He'd walk around with rocks
Classic
and
Gorp.
kill those crab people, and that's why I think Crabman Doom turned him into a mermaid man.
Well, yeah, it's punishment.
Joseph knows a lot about that.
I do know a lot about that. Do you remember when we were, about that age, about 13, when things started to change? When the city girls came in, we had to tie Gorp to a tree because he just became unruly.
Yeah, it's like a werewolf, hairwolf.
He's just a hair wolf out there.
Yeah, I remember when I broke the record for staring at my reflection the longest without getting scared. 2 minutes.
I still can't believe that. What did you...
I get scared when I look at your reflection.
Trick is cross your eyes.
He also watched the entirety of Borat beforehand, and he really prepped himself up.
Why does it look like us?
I don't know.
How does it know?
I think it's another person under the water.
That was a great, 20 years of all of our lives. But anyway, we were out there just having fun, just romping around in the woods, smashing toads, sniffing hair, looking at old TV guides. But let me tell you, some people, some communities out there, they're not as happy-go-lucky as us. I have a story for you from Reddit user BRS677. We were partying at a usual party spot by the river, and some dude came out of the woods. He just kept saying weird stuff like, "You gotta watch yourself down there. There's some bad folks around here." When asked who he was, he just said, "I'm nobody." We were all a little sketched out and basically told the guy to buzz off. A couple days later, a girl went off the rope swing there and got really messed up. Someone put fishing hooks all over the bottom of the rope swing, and it took chunks of flesh out of her leg. Later, we found out the dude was just a guy that lived nearby, and although a creepy drunk, he was harmless. There was a messed up, probably inbred family that lived up the road that he would warn people about. About 5 years later, last year, they beat some kid up with a log and kidnapped some girl at gunpoint and took her on the joyride. You know, earlier I said that it's hard to tell if these stories are fact or fiction. Well, I found the very news article in question describing the gunpoint joyride.
Do you have it?
Just, I'm on Windows.
You've done your
Nice.
research.
Cut the
Give
dead
me
air,
some
boss.
time.
All right.
Joseph,
Yeah.
how was your day?
That was pretty good. I played some basketball.
Mhm.
Didn't really do a lot. It was a pretty lazy day for me. Keith, what did you do today?
I woke up relatively early at the early hour of 1 p.m.
Oh, yeah, of course.
and I'm nice and rested. I'm ready to talk about the woods as soon as Windows, the best operating system on this planet, is ready to help us
Yeah,
out.
he's upgrading to Windows 10 right now.
From Temple OS.
These things take time. Yeah, from Temple OS.
You're transitioning from Temple OS.
It just-
you heathen.
It just, every time I try to visit my favorite sites, a little box would pop up with scripture and tell me that I was a heathen, that I was a sinner, that I couldn't go there.
So your reaction is to get as far away from God as possible and doom your immortal soul.
Yes. Also,
Did you delete Scripture 32?
Scripture 32 is the best scripture.
You can't delete it. You need it for everything.
Wait, oh yeah, I had a guy tell me once to delete Scripture 32, but I did it.
Yeah.
Computer
Yes.
didn't work anymore.
okay, so here's the story in
You got
question. Burrell man charged in woman's alleged abduction. Burrell, a township man, faces kidnapping charges for allegedly forcing a woman into his truck after a large fight at the Rearricks Forden swimming hole. It's the same hole.
It's the one from the
It's
story.
the one with the fish hooks. Man,
Confirmed.
that's just out of Stillwater Ave Extension, right? With the rope swim? I'm just kidding. Anyway, on June 23rd, they took her on a dangerous high-speed ride before she managed to get away. And let me just skip ahead to the last part, just because it's a little bit comical. Yeah, so she was able to escape because the two brothers got out and just started fist fighting. They just got in like a little brother squabble, like giving each other wedgies and hook like noogies, and she just took off and got away.
Wow.
What an end.
Yeah.
They probably didn't believe her.
Happy ending, yeah.
Speaking of that, what's your favorite move against your brother?
I used the finisher.
I know the finisher well. I'm not even your brother, and you use the finisher.
I don't
on
even
me.
have a brother, but if I did, I would finish him.
Oh, really? Yeah, sometimes you
That's
just gotta,
right.
you're just rolling around with somebody wrestling, you just gotta finish them.
I mean, Joseph,
Just gotta finish him. You
he,
gotta,
he likes to choke.
I do like to choke.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
something appealing about the neck.
every time I
I just
wrestle
wanna,
Joseph, he just gets me to the ground and it just puts his hands on my throat and he squeezes pretty tight.
Well, yeah, that's a good way to finish you.
He drills me with his elbows.
Oh yeah, the
He'll
good
knock
old-fashioned
me over
yeah.
and
elbow
get you
drill.
right in the guts.
You have a diverse range of finishers.
I like
Oh,
the
yeah.
wet willy quite a bit.
One time, can I just tell a story that's it's not really a mystery?
We're gonna get canceled.
Yeah.
I gave you guys all know Kyle, obviously.
Of
Kyle
course.
Ryder. I gave him a wet willy, but with lotion, and I didn't wipe it in all the way, so he had to go in and
Oh.
finish wiping it in.
God.
And it
my
was
God.
really funny.
That's actually a good move, though.
Yeah.
That's,
Yeah.
I don't,
It wasn't really a finisher; it was more of a stun.
I think,
He had to finish himself off.
I mean, moving on to the woods. Mike, do you want to talk about some creatures in the woods? What do you want to move on to?
well, we heard about the Wendigos, the monsters in the wood. Then we heard about people in the woods that are a little bit unsavory. And boy, I've got plenty of those stories as well, but I'm down to go back through creatures.
Okay, one question actually.
Yeah.
The inbred folks, what's the correct nomenclature? What's the politically correct
I
way
would
to
just
say
call them people.
it? Just
This news,
I don't know if that fits.
this news are
Ouch.
easy
They might listen.
issue.
They're not listening, what?
They can't figure
We
out.
don't
radio.
reach.
Yeah,
Never
we don't
mind.
reach out into the dark swamps.
Listen,
We broadcast
tone
on
it
the
down.
internet.
Tone it down.
Yeah, this all reminds. Have you guys seen that X-Files episode? The
Home?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one that they only aired once.
They really?
On
What's
you
the
know,
story
on-
behind that?
It was too disturbing for like public television.
Yeah.
Like Elvis Presley's hips.
Exactly. It's,
I still
yeah.
have like violent Lynchian nightmares where it's just his like hips gyrating, but like as they move, I hear the sound of boulders scraping together, and I kind of get nosebleeds from it.
Oh, that'll
Yeah,
happen.
I saw a video of Elvis dancing superimposed over Lynch's alphabet, and that was something else.
Oh my
yeah,
god!
yeah. But yeah, we kind of drifted away from the woods again.
I think it's time for our show promo break. I'm Roy Michaels. You are listening to the Mystery Hour on 91.9 FM, WMEB, Orono, Maine. It's 11:42, and we will be right back.
Hi, I'm Murph. Ride along with me on the Blues Bus every Thursday from 6 to 9 p.m. right here on WMEB 91.9 FM, Orono, Maine. Quality blues since 1991.
Hello and welcome back to the Mystery Hour. I'm Roy Michaels, joined tonight by Connor, Keith, and Joseph. And tonight we are talking about all things ooky spooky in the woods. It is 11:43.
Okay, what do you guys think about the jackalope? Fact or fiction?
I'm just gonna be honest, that doesn't interest me.
Doesn't interest you? It's a woodland creature.
Pass.
It's a rabbit with antlers.
Well, I thought the jackalope was in desert biomes.
I think it's desert biomes.
Yeah.
I think it's everywhere. I think it's pretty pervasive.
Everywhere?
That's
Even
scary.
Antarctica?
We should actually do a jackalope episode. I think it was a hoax though, right?
I don't know.
That
I'm
just sort
looking
of,
at a
like,
picture right now.
perpetrated itself in the zeitgeist and like just the public consciousness for years.
Maybe so.
I
All right, well, let's move on. You want to move on to another
Do
monster?
not move on.
well I
Don't
just
move on.
okay.
Could you describe
Um,
a jackalope physically? Like, what is different about it that is noteworthy?
It's a rabbit or a hare, maybe, and it has antlers.
And do you know how that differs from the Wolpertinger?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think Robbie actually has a taxidermy Wolfertinger
I think it's
at
true.
his camp, doesn't
Yeah,
he?
right above the second bunk.
If Brett hasn't gnawed away at it
He won't.
yet.
Bread's not much of a gnaw, he's more of a, looker.
He licks.
Have we described bread before?
Yeah, not to get off topic, but yeah, Brett is our co-host Robbie. Brett is his brother, and he lives in the attic of his camp, and he's just kind of Joseph.
He's there. No, I think. Wait. Oh, Joseph.
First
I'm
off, isn't
sorry.
he his cousin or is he his brother?
I thought he was his brother.
I can't remember. Anyway, what he does when you're asleep is he'll lick the inside of your mouth and just kind of clean it out.
Mm-hmm. And this is relevant because he is a woodland creature in a sense.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of rude to say about someone that you know and has had their tongue in your
Yeah,
mouth,
well,
but-
he lives out in the woods. He's kind of a Smeagol, Gollum type character.
Yeah.
I have some groundbreaking information I just found.
Well, we'll fall.
All right, let's hear it.
I hate you. The first confirmed jackalope specimen was secured by one Douglas Herrick, who in 1932 found a dead one sprawled in his shop in Douglas, Wyoming. He wanted to get technical though. It was an ordinary dead rabbit next to some deer horns on the floor. But Herrick, he's a smart guy. He knows what sells. He's got that cutting edge capitalist blood in him. He picked up the deer horns and put it on the rabbit and mounted the whole thing and stuck it on his wall. And then just began a slew of taxidermic jackalopes in bars all across the West. Joseph.
What did you say his first name was?
Douglas
Douglas?
Herrick.
You mean Douglas?
No, he said Douglas.
Douglas. It says it right. I'm looking at the
I can't see
script.
it. I don't know if you're just dumb.
I mean, okay, I'm not buying it because I don't see anyone. It's such a complicated idea. I don't see how someone could just think about that. Put the antlers on the rabbit.
It really is.
Yeah,
If it was that easy, there would be a million of them, right?
exactly.
There's a lot of deer, there's a lot of rabbits, and they're mostly dead.
Mm-hmm. You'd see them everywhere, and you
Yeah.
don't.
Really
And
makes you
now
think.
let's move on to the next monster.
Well, okay,
We
I want
solved
to talk
it.
about the famous monster because
Okay.
I feel like every time we talk about the woods, we have to talk about the man, the Bigfoot. And, you know, devout followers of the show will remember that a month back, towards the beginning of the summer, our co-host, Joseph, here on the Mystery Hour, was in fact hospitalized by a squatch and missed out on a few episodes. Joseph, are you ready to talk about what happened to you tonight?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So were you out squatching or were you out pursuing another story?
Well, I'm a paranormal journalist, as you know. And a way that I interview some paranormal entities is I let them use my body to talk to me. So, I just, and while I was doing that, obviously the woods is the best place to do that. It's nice and safe. It's not near anyone. And while I was doing that, I was attacked by a squatch. I think I might have entered into its territory.
Yeah, that's a good point. And that's what I've seen the most on the Bigfoot hunting forums, that the most dangerous aspect of a squatch encounter is that it will usually drag you back into its territory. And that's not the territory of man. It's not the territory of God. It's the territory of bears and cougars.
Exactly.
Yeah. Keith.
So are you absolutely certain it was a squatch rather than a squid?
Oh, it was a squatch.
Okay, so you
It got
didn't
me.
just wander into its realm and then it appears and you're God.
No, it can't. It was
Okay.
lumbering through the woods and it got me. It's why I invented a Squatch Guard. You just spray it on yourself and it protects you from squatches. It, kind of wards them off.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's made from ground up Squatch bones.
Oh, you got him?
Way,
Oh, yeah.
way.
You
It's-
got that squatch?
Yeah, once they. Oh no, I didn't get that one.
Oh, okay.
You just got to kind of wait for them to expire on their own, and then you got to go collect their bones.
Yeah, 2 points. One, a quick plug for Roy and I's new book, The Sasquatch-Sasquatch Dichotomy 2, which includes Joseph's story and more. And point 2, Joseph, so you're telling me you were, I guess it's a question more than a point.
Yep.
You were out there trying to contact spirits.
It was specifically a demon.
Okay, and in the process, you ran into Bigfoot. Are you constantly surrounded by paranormal stuff like this, or is that just a fluke?
I think it might have been a bit of a fluke, but
I mean, it's just, that's amazing, though, even once.
yeah, maybe, the possession of the demon kind of lured the Sasquatch to me, like it felt another paranormal presence.
Oh, and I want to
Oh,
alpha
fight.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
And
made
it did fight me.
Sasquatch might be more sensitive to spiritual beings.
Oh, I absolutely think that's true. I think that's why it's hard to catch them, because they can sense our presence before we know that they're there.
Oh,
Joseph.
Yeah.
Were you scared?
It all happened so fast. I didn't really have time to be scared because I was just like shattered bones and just a bag of shattered bones in a few minutes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes.
My face looked like a bucket of smashed crabs.
Classic gore.
Yeah.
You know, I do have to ask you, and you can tell me if you feel.
Yeah, I peed myself.
No, not that.
Oh.
You can tell me if you feel uncomfortable answering this question, but I do know that June, the month of your attack, is sort of the peak of the Sasquatch mating season, and you are, after all, a bipedal, burly man, much like a young, supple Squatch. I have to ask, once it got you down and smashed, did it try anything?
I don't think it entered me. None.
What?
What?
So I have a story for you guys. It's a good one.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, every now and then, something will happen that will change your perspective on your sense of home and community. This happened to me last Sunday, and it really made me realize the thin line between the cozy suburban life I experienced in Old Town and the darkness that dwelled beneath. It was about midnight. I was going up to bed. I shut off my lights, but then I heard voices outside of the window. But knowing that I had darkness to my advantage, I got by my window, peered out, and on the tree line, I saw my neighbor and his son walking back from the forest. He had a headlamp on and something over his shoulder. And I leaned closer to the window, thinking, oh my God, like, does he have, is that, what does he have over his shoulder? And he got closer and I realized this guy, he lived two doors down from me, this man that I've known, I've spoken to, we lived near each other. He was coming back to my house carrying a possum. He just had a possum on his shoulder, just bringing it back with his son. And it was like 12 at night. And I'm thinking, like, what is going on, you know? And then it gets weird. He goes out to the back part of the lawn, right? As if he's waiting for a catch. Like as if his son's going to pass him something. And the possum just comes speeding off to him. Like his son just put it on the ground and let it take off and come to him. And he started kiting it around the lawn with a piece of food. He just had food in his hand. He's walking around. This little possum is following him everywhere. When it gets close enough, he gives the possum pats. And I start thinking, why is this happening? And I realize that I live across the street from the mill. You know, it's low-income housing. You're either a college student or you're down on your luck. And I'm thinking that maybe this guy doesn't have enough money to buy some meats, some fine meats at the grocery store. And I realized, oh my God, this guy's gonna slay this possum in front of me. He was just out hunting for food. And he reached into his pocket and brought out more treats, and that was the last I saw of him. They went in the house. I have no idea what happened. I haven't talked to him about it, but I did find out that he does kind of have an unsightly cat. Keith?
He brought the possum in his house?
I don't know what happened to the possum.
When did you lose track of it?
This was just a whirlwind of confusion for me, just a maelstrom of perplexity.
A mealstrom, if you will.
Yeah,
a possum.
Why did he have the possum?
I don't know. I mean, like you said, he might just be poor. He needs that meat.
It might be.
Yeah.
Was it father-son bonding, do you think?
I think they were just having some fun. You know,
They just went out to have...
You go out with your headlamp and you catch a possum.
Why not?
Well, I'll tell you what. My first semester of college didn't have a lot of money, and it's good possum hunting up near the mill, and that's where I get a lot of my food from. So.
Yeah, I mean that's certainly why UMO's. What is the word for it? We have more people than ever come into Orono, and I think it's because they caught wind of the good possum hunting around campus.
Definitely.
You basically don't even pay for food. You just got all the food you need right there.
Yeah, absolutely. Are you gonna live in the dorms? No. Live out in the woods. Joseph?
I have a possum-related story.
Go for it.
One time when I was a kid, mother possum died, and I was forced to kill the baby possums as a mercy. I was like 4.
Oh my God.
Did that actually happen?
Yep.
Did you make this decision?
I don't.
No.
Someone delegated the 4-year-old to smash the baby possum.
Was it your dad?
A shovel.
Okay, you
You
smashed
just kind of use this. No, you use the spade and just kind of.
Oh, okay, you
Yeah.
beheaded them.
Yeah.
So it was your parents.
Yeah.
Are they listening? Because I don't want to.
I don't think so.
I mean, that's
Maybe.
just horrible. Why didn't they do it? They're trying to teach you a lesson?
I think they were trying to teach me a lesson.
Do you think they tried it on Vincent first?
Oh, he doesn't understand things.
Maybe he
Yeah,
smashed
I just-
way more than you did.
He probably smashed the mother.
He probably just smashed them. like us, you know, we were out smashing toads back when we were uneducated, living in the woods.
Yeah.
Did you at least smash him outside?
In the shed. That was not a good idea.
So technically,
Is this a real story? I'm horrified.
Yep.
Oh man.
That's what this show is all about: real stories and real people.
Absolutely.
genuine reactions, no laughter, all the day.
No laughter at all.
A lot of coughs that sound like laughs, though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Something
definitely.
going around now.
There's
Yeah.
something in the air at the studio. None of those ghosts.
It's allergy
Dust
season.
ghosts.
Yeah.
Just regular dust.
I've been sneezing up a storm
Yeah, you know.
over here. Yeah.
All night.
I'm kind of disappointed that you shared that possum story. We almost got through the entire hour without my heart getting broken.
Oh, well.
Can't have that.
Yeah. You know, have you guys ever like encountered anything bizarre in the woods?
Man, what's that dinging? Is there like a EMF going off? Or what?
I think someone's at the door of the studio just dinging the bell
that's
trying to
right.
get
Oh.
in.
You know,
And we're not going to let them
No,
in.
we're busy.
yeah, it's probably Robbie.
I would
Something
like
in
to
the
add a
woods.
caveat.
Yep.
No toads have been smashed by me in my life.
Was that just texted to you to say that?
There are greater people at work here.
Yeah, we probably
Listen,
shouldn't.
we are at the frontier of truth and the paranormal, but we're on the radio. We're not out of it. You know, the reptiles.
Oh,
We gotta get off the grid someday and just do a podcast and tell it like it is.
Until then, let's talk about woodland creatures.
Yeah. So I did hear this story once. It's disturbing, and it's true. It happened to my best friend Jeremiah, and he was walking along the river, right, out in the backwoods, just walking along, and then he started to hear something pounding. You know, it's like a hammer, that's a little bit meaty. It's the hammer pounding along. I thought someone was building a shed. And then he heard some guy start screaming, "Nobody's gonna hear you out here. Nobody's gonna let you out." And then not a moment later, he saw a guy coming down the ridge away from like the shed toward him with a rusty wheelbarrow, just kind of trudging along. And he didn't see Jeremiah at all. And he just kept going and got into his van. Jeremiah left and called the police, and he never knew what happened. It's a little bit of a spooky story.
do you think it was a prank?
It seems like a good prank.
Solid goof?
It's a little bit dark,
Yeah.
but I
Well,
enjoy
wasn't
it.
right.
Guys, got any stories?
You just gave up. Man. Like, "Ugh."
I mean,
Yeah, I don't have
I
a
got a
story.
bunch. It's not,
But there's something important that needs to be said that I believe has to be said pretty soon. This Mana needs help.
oh.
If you got extra water, Mana needs your water because people are dehydrating. It's so you can go to 629 Main Street, right? And you can call them at 990-2873, 990-2870. You can show up and you can give them all your extra water. If you were just going to pour it out, they'll take it and they'll give it to someone who needs it. And it'll probably help them out a lot. So if you got extra water, bring it there. 629 Main Street, 990-2870. Thank you.
Well said, Keith.
And
Thank
just
you.
a quick question. That's a great cause, but are you doing an unscheduled PSA?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
I got a text about smashing toads and I had to balance our karma somehow. So here we are.
Allegedly.
Yeah, we didn't. do
Smashing
it. Double
toads.
jeopardy protects
Yeah,
us.
don't smash any kind of creature.
Inside or outside.
Yeah.
Well, it's like
I mean, if you're a kid and your
No.
parents tell you you have to, it's kind of hard not to, but I'm saying don't do it.
I do. Okay, this brings me to another story I wanted to bring up tonight. And we didn't talk about nature itself being evil. Well, not necessarily evil, but definitely unsettling. Definitely this kind of stuff you want to tell around a campfire. So if you're out there, you know, listening to the show, eating some cornflakes, turn it down a little bit. Just tune out for a minute. Because let me tell you, I was watching this video on the internet, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and this guy, he's walking in the woods, and he has this camera, and he points it near this tree, and there's just this brown mass, right? It kind of looks like moss, and he pokes it with a stick, and the stick sort of gets stuck, like there's some give to the moss, and he moves the stick ever so slightly up, and all of the moss comes with it, but still stays connected to the tree. It's as if he stuck the stick in like a gluey substance and lifted up because it just started forming strings. He was, perplexed. So he just tore it away instead of just pulling it away slowly. And it turned out to be hundreds of thousands of daddy long legs intertwined together. They do this pretty often. I believe it's called Madden, most commonly in the fall. But they just interfold and overlap, and all of their legs just become this nexus. Yeah, Keith?
Are you trying to say mating?
No, I'm not trying to say it.
Is it
Okay.
netting?
But I'm just going to do a quick Google.
Well, I mean, on the topic, I'm totally serious. That sounds like an absolute nightmare.
Yeah. Probably scarier than an actual Sasquatch encounter.
Oh, yeah,
Well.
100 times.
Joseph?
I mean, you say that until you get.
Okay. Well, what do you say?
I say that you don't want to get beaten up by a Sasquatch.
I'm saying you say that until you run into millions of daddy long legs interlocked.
They'd get in your
Oh, my
pants.
God.
That'd be bad.
That's a good point. As long as they don't have like dog heads.
I mean, they might.
Yeah. I thought you were gonna say something about an ooze. If you ever see an ooze, especially in the woods, steer clear of it.
Yeah, just run away. It can't
Yeah.
catch you. Just don't.
Yeah.
Don't
Oozes
poke
are
it.
bad. Just if you just to remember, you ooze, you lose.
Yeah, that's the saying.
Yeah. So that's how it goes. What's going on in there?
Well, I found it's not called Madden. It's called Pylon or Clusterin, and it looks a little bit like this. Connor, if you look at it,
Ah!
it's pretty bad.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
It's like a hairball. We're going to put the video on our Facebook page. It's facebook.com/Midnight Mystery Hour. You can enjoy this. Show it to your loved ones.
If you're around someone who you don't want to hear you scream in terror, don't watch it.
The next time
Watch
you
it
brush your
alone.
hair, do not look at the brush.
Don't look at the brush, and if your cat coughs something up, don't look at it because it could be. Bad.
Connor, you have thick hair. Just imagine like how many spiders you could fit just all up in there. Is your hair just a nexus of spiders?
A nexus of spiders. I
That's why
don't
he
think
sleeps
so, but
under
you're
the
making me
covers.
really itchy.
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I mean, if I've got spiders in my hair, it's not your fault.
It could be.
Yeah, I guess you could have put them there.
He's just trying to see how many he can get in there.
Yeah.
Can I pull out 2 more anecdotes of just bizarreness in the woods?
Yeah,
just
go
like pull
for
them
it.
all out, man.
One,
Just like dump them.
here it is. I saw. The one time I was walking along the woods, and I came across a tree stump that was just plastered with pictures cut out of magazines of Aaron Carter. Some of them had their, eyes cut out, but they were everywhere. This tree was just plastered in Aaron Carter bark, and I'm confused, right? Why is this in the woods, Keith?
What year was this? Like, was Aaron Carter relevant?
This
'Cause
was
that'll make it even
2011.
scarier. 2001?
11.
Oh.
That makes it even stranger.
Yeah.
What kind of tree was it?
I believe it was a nice oak.
Yeah, you wouldn't put Aaron Carter around a maple.
Absolutely not.
Right.
Because you get all the Aaron Carter pictures sticky, and you don't want that.
Any hit clips around there?
There were no hit clips.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Not a true
that was
fan.
strange. I expected to find some sort of pentagram with a hit clip in the middle of just Aaron Carter. I want candy, just like playing like a broken record, just
Yeah.
skipping hellishly forever.
So do you think they're trying to summon Aaron Carter, or do you think they're trying to summon Candy?
Well, let me just add you. Let me just learn you a little bit with this next fact.
Go ahead.
Okay, guys, just talk about something candy, and how that's the birth of Halloween. Anyway,
Are you crying?
Well, I mean,
Halloween's
every birth
a
is beautiful.
Halloween's a very tough time for Roy. We'll get into that another time.
my daddy came home.
No, don't.
For the first time.
My daddy. Okay. Anyway, he killed my family with a hammer. No. That was this Stephen King, James Franco show that. Okay. So yeah, I was at the shrine. And
Is that what you call it? The shrine?
It's a shrine, Keith. It's a textbook.
Yeah. I guess it's just the shrine. Have you encountered a shrine that is greater?
Greater, like
Yeah, is it-
greater power emitted from it, because
Exactly,
there
yeah.
was a distinct frequency I could kind of listen in on if I brought my ear close enough to the ground.
Good.
I didn't do that long because, quite frankly, I think the tree stump was soaked with urine. But my first reaction, the confusion, and I decided that this thing is too evil to exist. Like, there is no reason that this would exist in a just, good world. So I tore it down, just ripping off the pictures, left and right, throwing some in my bag, because, got a lot of white space back at my apartment, just taking them off. And then some woman just starts screaming, and she runs out of the woods. It's crazy. Her hair's all like tangled, like a spider pile. And she's running at me. She's got this long shawl and this hunch and an empty milk bottle. I don't know what that was about. And she's just coming at me and screaming at me. And I just put all the pictures back. And I apologized. I destroyed her. She was an artist, an art graduate from the University of Maine, just out in the woods.
That makes it different.
Yeah.
That's a statement.
Case closed.
Mm-hmm.
A good way to tell it was a paranormal is if you rip down one picture and there was another picture behind it.
What?
That's how you tell if it's a paranormal shrine. If you rip down one picture and the same picture is right behind
You
it.
keep ripping them, and there's always one behind.
The replication hex.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Very common one.
Yeah.
It's baby's first hex, without a doubt.
You know
Yeah,
it.
protects your shrine.
Connor.
We've all ventured out into the woods quite a bit, being Mainers, right?
Yeah.
Have any of you guys ever run into just flights of stairs in the middle of the woods with no house connected?
Yeah.
You have.
No, I'm sorry.
You're just saying yeah. You're just saying yeah.
I haven't.
Played along.
I haven't. You caught my bluff.
You're not taking my paranormal experience seriously.
I've come across old broken down structures, but not specifically stairs.
Okay, well, I'm just saying, if you ever run into stairs, don't touch them, don't walk up them, stay away from them. I mean it.
How come?
Because I have touched them, I've walked up them.
And look how that turned out.
Yeah, look how that turned out. You start to feel like you're out of this world, and you start to go insane, and that's why I am where I am today. So if you want to be like me, go up the stairs, but otherwise, don't.
Absolutely.
That's my PSA.
Yeah.
I want
If
to
you
be
want,
like you.
yeah, if you want people to pretend to be interested in what you're saying, then go up the stairs.
That's the curse of Connor.
Yeah.
Now, is there a way to tell... I'm sorry, switching gears to skinwalkers here.
Oh, cyclical. I like it.
Yeah.
Back to the start.
Circles. Is there a way to tell if someone is impersonating another human?
Well, remember that time we had John on the show and he was acting kind of weird and he didn't talk much during the entire episode?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we accidentally lit in a skinwalker.
Ooh.
I might have actually just turned off his mic.
Oh, okay. But what about this? He kept saying, guys, after the show, let's go in the woods. Let's go take a hike. Let's go to the bomb shelter. Also, he kept... You remember we all got meat burgers? Hamburgers? We all got hamburgers. And he just sucked the meat out of his and left the buns and lettuce and tomatoes behind. He just touched it. He ate the meat in my burger. Keith?
You know he's a fitness expert, right? Like, he understands nutrition. He knows what macros he needs. He just wanted the protein.
But, riddle me this, Keith. Why did the air smell like blood and copper and feel electric?
I think he might have killed a man.
Joseph.
I'm just on the side of near side, Mike. I mean, right? Sorry. It could be where his phobia of wet hands came from. Is from when he got grabbed by a skinwalker. They might have slimy hands. I've never seen a skinwalker in its original form, so I'm not sure of the moistness of their hands.
I always assumed he got that fear from a fluid ghoul.
Ooh.
He was near the water. We were out at my camp, and he came screaming up the dock. Something grabbed me, and I took some pictures, and I saw some kind of translucent arms reaching out of the water.
Whoa.
Classic fluid ghoul.
I would say that is a great story, but Stephen King did do it first.
I did it first.
With the raft.
With the raft, there's no raft in my tale.
Oh, okay.
You're just a troublemaker tonight.
He's trying to get Papa Steve more credit than he deserves.
He's trying to kick me out of this room.
I'm just saying.
And put me over there.
Stephen King. Come on the show.
Yeah, come on the show, Steven.
Speaking of John, don't we have a clip that he sent us?
I don't know. You told me
the latest chapter in his Camp Jordan adventures.
He sent it to me via SMS, and I can't get the file off my phone. And my phone's
so
dead.
I messed up in this situation.
What do you mean you messed up?
Because he sent it to me as well. I just thought you had it.
Can you plug? can we play it off your phone
we don't
right
have
now?
time for that. It's 12:13.
Did any of you listen to it?
I listened to it. Yeah, it's quite the saga happening. We'll have to play it next week.
All right.
How about we play the first one in the beginning of the episode, and that will lure the people in, and they'll stick around for chapter 3 at the end.
That's a good idea. It's chapter 2, isn't it?
No, well, we played. Connor,
What?
get your head in the game.
Oh, he's gonna send another one.
Yes.
Is what you're saying? Okay.
So we're going to play all 3.
Wow.
He's going to feel like a star.
Did I ever tell you that time I was hiking up in the woods and I heard some screamings, and I didn't think much of it, but then I got home and went to bed and woke up watching the news, and someone had been violently murdered in the same area where I was hiking?
Did you violently murder someone?
No, unrelated to
Where
me.
was it?
Unrelated.
It was,
You made meat burgers?
Called out
listen,
again.
I didn't have a gazetteer with me.
All right.
I didn't have a compass. I was just, roughing it. Chris McCandless. Thoreau.
When
John Muir.
you had those sunglasses on, you look haunting.
That's exactly the point.
You look like a ghost bug. Just like a pale
A ghost bug.
ghost bug.
There's a big lack of ghost bugs, I think.
Well, the biggest one's right in the room with you.
Besides
Nice.
Roy.
You got him.
No, he just lurched at me.
Luckily, he had his headphones on, so he couldn't lurch all the way.
Yeah, his 8 headphones for each of his ears.
It's true. Well, any last points about the forest? This is chapter 2 in the saga. We've done this before, but I feel like we will do this again very soon because there's just a lot of material out there.
Yeah, there's a lot of material. There's a lot of forest.
There's a lot of forest, there's a lot of mystery, a lot of bizarre happenings, a lot of murder, a lot of melon heads, a lot of wendigos, evil spirits, witches, and werewolves.
And Eustace Roach and his spider dogs.
Crabs.
Yep. Well, anyway, I'm Roy Michaels. It is now 12. Oh, my. It is 12:16. And you are listening to you have just listened to the Mystery Hour. I was joined tonight by Connor, Keith, and Joseph. And I would like to...
No, you said it, and we all have to say it.
Yeah, say yo.
Hey,
Welcome to the Ozone Layer.
good night.
We'll be passing the torch to the nefarious mechanical menace Robo DJ, who will be playing you the most choicest of deep WMEB Orono Maine cuts throughout the evening until about, I don't know, I think 9 o'clock in the morning. He doesn't sleep. He's a robot. I'd like to thank Jimmy Ozog for composing several original tracks for use here on the Mystery Hour. I'd like to thank the wonderful people behind the scenes at WMEB for giving us the opportunity to put on the show each week and delve into the unknown, and for helping us grow along the way. And of course, I would like to thank you, the listener, for staying up late with the radio. We'll be back next week, 11 o'clock. I'll see you then. I'll see you then.
Says.